Today, I am here to talk about many different things evolving around the sport of NASCAR. This past weekend, the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series went out to Brooklyn, Michigan to race at the Michigan International Raceway, where we saw two phenomenal races. On Saturday, we saw John Hunter Nemechek getting the job done there for like the millionth time this year. And Sunday rolls around, and a lot of people in the industry and people on Twitter obviously didn't have high expectations for the race getting started because of rain in the area. But boy, were they wrong, because they got 75 laps in. And within those 75 laps, we've seen big names like Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and so on, Josh Berry. They all had incidents, and it made it much more interesting. But on lap 75, though, NASCAR did red flag it because of rain, and they resumed Monday afternoon, where we saw Chris Buescher from Roush Fenway Keselowski picking up career win number 4 and career win number 2 of the 2023 season. And much more things happened. So it's a lot to talk about from Michigan. And Chase Elliott fans, I hope you know I'm right there with you. I'm holding your hand. Just a terrible weekend overall for Chase Elliott and Hendrick Motorsports. But looking ahead this weekend, the Cup Series and Xfinity Series are heading out to the Indianapolis road course. The trucks are in action across the street. But yeah, the big weekend here, a lot of drivers have this race circled on their calendars as a chance to win, like a Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger. Those are going to be the drivers you want to keep an eye on. So will I pick one of them to win a race? Time will tell, but on to the intro we go.
I'm Chase Briscoe, driver number 14 Ford Mustang for Stewart-Haas Racing, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
Let's just go ahead and talk about it. The big elephant in the room. Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Napa Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports, had a terrible outing here in Michigan. He entered the weekend with a very reasonable chance of pointing his way into the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs after missing a handful of races due to injury and another one due to suspension. And he wrecked out, and his chances of pointing his way in are much more slimmer. And he's not quite out of it yet, but he is practically a full race behind. And if he has a terrible outing in Indianapolis, which I will talk about in a minute, if he has a bad outing, he's going to be then in a must-win situation. Right now, he still has a slight chance of pointing his way in, but it's getting slimmer by the day. And just so you Chase Elliott fans know, I'm right there. I'm going to hold your hand. This is something your driver put you through. The injury, we can put that to the side. But Charlotte costed you and your team big time. What he did to Denny Hamlin that night in the Coca-Cola 600 was very immature, irresponsible, the whole 9 yards. And that's more than likely going to cost him a playoff spot unless he can go to victory lane or have 3 phenomenal races here in Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, and Daytona, which is still likely, but it is so much uncertainty. So I'm really not going to go out there and bank on Chase Elliott just flat out dominating. And there's a good chance NASCAR's most popular driver is going to miss out on a playoff spot. And all the attention is now going to be turned into Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher headed into 2023 with some kind of momentum, building from the playoff success he had for racing for nothing. He won Bristol last year in the night race, a big crown jewel event. And a lot of people expected him and RFK Racing to take the step forward, in which they have, and to be more competitive. This last couple of weeks or last couple of months since Nashville, I can really say, I feel this with confidence when I say this, that RFK Racing is the best Ford team in NASCAR. Stewart-Haas is off by tons of miles, and it's getting ridiculous by the day. Team Penske, they're also starting to slow down and be more inconsistent. Joey Logano is a prime example. Started off the year mediocre, had a good win in Atlanta. Since then, he's been hit or miss, and I'm just not liking it so far for him. Ryan Blaney, the same thing for him. Besides Charlotte, where have you been? And Austin Cindric, Where the hell are you? But the point is, though, I believe the firm number one team for Ford is RFK Racing. There's no ifs and buts. And the number one driver for Ford, in my opinion, is Chris Buescher. Just look at the stats. He has 2 wins. It is time to start taking Chris Buescher more seriously and as one of the championship favorites, because 2 wins, that's 10 playoff points. And those 10 playoff points add up. And I'm saying he may win 1 or 2 more races as the season goes on. So keep your eyes on Chris Buescher. Today, I'm filming this on a Monday night, but today's win in Michigan for him was very big. And I believe it makes him a true championship contender, and so does RFK Racing. Brad Keselowski had a solid top 5 with him, and Keselowski is going to get his win before too long. And when he does, holy crap, that is going to be a very emotional one, because Keselowski right now, as an owner, going to victory lane for his teammate / one of his drivers, Chris Buescher, he's already feeling some type of emotion. Like, he's going in there, it's his team, he's wanting to feel excited, but it's not him. He's not the 6 car, it's the 17. And whenever that day comes, he's going to see Matt McCall and his spotter, his whole team in victory lane, celebrating. And he's going to say to himself, that was a great afternoon. And that right there was my first ever win as a NASCAR Cup Series owner. And when that day comes, though, it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. It's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I just hope it happens within the next couple of weeks, because I really do want to see Keselowski make it to the playoffs. Right now, there is a good chance, but there's no guarantees. But fingers crossed for a Keselowski playoff run. He really deserves it, and so does RFK Racing. Just the year they're having, both cars ought to be in the playoffs. And a lot of people may be saying, oh, a couple of weeks ago about Justin Haley making his move to Rickware Racing. That move, by the day, is starting to be much more smarter and intelligent by Justin Haley, because RFK Racing is going to be pretty much the car Justin Haley's going to be driving next year for Rickware. They're going to have a very tight alliance. So, Justin Haley, is it really start time to think about 2024 as him as one of the playoffs sneakers, someone that can sneak his way in? But time will tell there. But a very interesting weekend in Michigan. Chase Elliott pretty much now in a must-win situation, in my opinion. Now let's take a look at the point standings. So here we go. In 15th place, we got the 23 car of Bubba Wallace plus 58 to the good. In 16th place, we got the 54 car of Ty Gibbs plus 3 to the good. In 17th place, we got Michael McDowell minus 3. He lost some ground in Michigan. Had a little incident with Chase Briscoe where his nose caved in and it produced a ton of drag down the straightaway, which made him, let's say, in the ballpark of 10 miles an hour slower. And it really hurt his time and his result. 18th place, Daniel Suarez, minus 5. He gained a ton of ground over the weekend. AJ Allmendinger in 19th gained a little bit of ground, but not much. He's heading to 2 good tracks for him where he can easily gain a ton of ground. He's won here in Indianapolis. He's won in Watkins Glen. If I'm an AJ Allmendinger fan, I am somewhat optimistic for him pointing his way in. But at the same time, I'm really not, because more than likely, it's going to have to take a win for one of these drivers to go in, because Bubba Wallace has that big 55-point gap over his next closest competitor. And I just don't see nobody catching him, and that's why I feel the 15th place for Bubba Wallace is very safe. He's got a race cushion, and if he increases that, let's say, over 60 over this weekend in Indianapolis, it's pretty much a lock at that point of time. So anything can happen here, but Ty Gibbs, I am sure him and his team are regretting the incident that took place at the end of New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago in the Crayon 301. Because that right there probably lost him, let's say, 20, 25 points at the end of the race. Those points right there would have made it much more narrow between him and Bubba Wallace. So if there was a new winner in Indianapolis, which I believe we may see, he can fight and try to point his way in. But now it's looking like a must-win situation for Ty Gibbs if there is a different winner. So very unfortunate for him, but I believe all it's going to do is make it much more interesting for us fans to watch and to follow along. But now let's take a look at something different. A bunch of new faces we're going to see this weekend in Indianapolis. So in the 15 car, we got the 2009 Formula One World Champion. And it's going to be Jenson Button, making his third career start of the season. And by the start for Jenson Button, it is seeming more and more likely that he is going to come back in some type of capacity in the 2024 season, whether that's racing road courses or a little bit of everything, because Jenson Button is loving NASCAR, and it's very clear right now that he does. So maybe we see him back next year, but with Rick Ware Racing, with Justin Haley next year, more than likely they're going to lose a charter because of the sale. Where is he going to race at next year? That's the true question right there. Where is he going to be racing next year? It's more than likely going to have to be a Ford because of Mobil 1 Alliance. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. But for now, this is his last start of the 2023 season. So hopefully he can end it out on a high note. Top 15 is very likely. The 33 car is going to be driven by Brody Kostecki. He's coming from Australia. He races with Shane Van Gisbergen on a weekly basis. I like his chances. They haven't raced a 33 car in NASCAR with Richard Childress Racing since last year in Michigan with Austin Hill, a top 20 result there. And I just believe top 20 is just too conservative with Brody Kostecki. A top 15, top 10, top 5 is definitely on the table. Top 20 is just too bad. And I think he has a chance of doing some big things this weekend. But the 67 car is also going to be in action for the first time since the Daytona 500 with Travis Pastrana. We're going to see Kuma Kambayashi. He's coming from all types of different motorsports. He's raced in Formula One. He's raced in Le Mans. He's raced it all. He's a phenomenal driver. And I believe, I'm just being a realist here and being honest with you, I don't see him being a true contender. I believe he's going to struggle. But who knows? I may look like a really big dummy come Monday morning when I make this video for the Watkins Glen race. But for right now, I think he's going to be a big bust. And then also we're going to have Shane Van Gisbergen back. And this time around, everybody and all the attention is going to be on him because he won the Chicago street race. And with that, it made him in line for a couple of rides for the 2024 season full time. So he's still auditioning for a ride next year. The team is uncertain. Colleague, they got the 31 car open. Spire's probably going to have the 77 car open. Stewart-Haas is probably going to have the 10. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. So Shane Van Gisbergen is going to have a very stressful weekend in my opinion. But there you go. Those are the big 4 names we're going to see, but we typically don't see on a typical race weekend in NASCAR. So maybe we get some more attention, a TV audience. But now on to the picks. By now, a lot of y'all have probably assumed that I was going to go with a new race winner this Sunday in Indianapolis. And if you're one of them people, you are correct. Because I believe the driver going to victory lane this Sunday is going to be Chase Briscoe from Mitchell, Indiana, and Stewart-Haas Racing. The 2023 season for Chase Briscoe has been a very rough one, to say the least. He started off the year in Daytona, very mediocre there. Had a couple of good runs back in the month of April and early May where he had like 3 consecutive top 5s. Had a chance to win Bristol, had a chance to win Talladega, and there's a few more races I'm forgetting. And just things haven't been going so well for him. His brightest moment so far since the big penalty in Charlotte was a 10th place result in New Hampshire. 10th place? That's not good at all. And but at the same time, though, Stewart-Haas Racing is having a down year. Kevin Harvick is still competitive because is Kevin Harvick a future Hall of Famer? But Eric Almirola, nowhere to be found. Same for Ryan Preece. So it's not really a driver error. It's more like a team error. And I'm sure they're going to get it resolved before 2024. And I just believe it's going to make them a contender for a select few races in 2023. So if he were to win this race, I really don't expect them to make it far in the playoffs. But at the same time, a lot of people expected that a year ago. And I was not one of them because I was very high on him. And a lot of people had him making it last year after the Phoenix win and being a one and done in the round of 16. He found himself in the round of 8, nearly going to the round of 4. Had a couple of chances to win in the round of 8, Vegas and Martinsville. He should have won. He should have won Vegas. I still can't get over that. But the point is, though, Chase Briscoe is going to go to Victory Lane this Sunday in Indianapolis, a track he's been very good at in the past. Nearly won it his rookie year. 2022 was very competitive. So I think Chase Briscoe goes to Victory Lane and makes another Ford driver in the playoffs. And it's going to make it much more interesting. We talked about the bubble. Bubba Wallace right now is a full race ahead of the next closest opponent. If we see a new winner, it's just going to make it much more interesting. Second place to Chase Briscoe is going to be an also non-race winner in 2023, and it's going to be Austin Cindric. I believe he's going to have a phenomenal weekend, and there's still that chance of him pulling his way in. But with Chase Briscoe going to Victory Lane, it's going to be pretty much too late to do anything. He has to win either Watkins Glen or Daytona, which he's won at Watkins Glen in Xfinity. He's also won at Daytona in Xfinity and in Cup. Nearly swept it last year in Daytona, but Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick had different plans in the summer race. But there you go, Austin Cindric in second place. Third place is going to be the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, he is hot right now. He is one of the hottest drivers in NASCAR beside Martin Truex Jr. and Chris Buescher. And I believe the Chris Buescher hype may slow down this weekend, but because it's a road course and Buescher is not really known to be a top-notch road course racer besides, let's say, a Sonoma and Watkins Glen, which is like a traditional road course in NASCAR. We're heading out to like a more extreme one, and I believe Buescher is going to struggle here. But if he doesn't, I'm going to look very dumb come Monday morning. But the point is, though, Denny Hamlin is really competitive right now, and I think he's going to have a good outing here in Indianapolis. So time will tell there. Fourth place is going to be the 34 car of Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell had a terrible outing in Michigan. If he did not have that freak accident with Chase Briscoe, which really not much he could have done. It was just a freak deal. Just bad things happen from time to time. You just got to move on. But he did have that little caved-in nose, which caused a drag, and the drag slowed him down tremendously down the straightaways, costed him lap time. Bad lap times also resulted in a bad race result. And he lost a lot of points. He has to make them back. But like I said, though, with a new race winner, points really mean nothing. Simple as that. So there you go. Michael McDowell finishing fourth. Going to be a solid points day for him, but at the same time, though, he's still he's still in range of Bubba Wallace, but you just got to expect more winners. I was high on Bubba Wallace early on. I still am, but the 16th spot, you do not want to be fighting for right now. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. We're going to see a new race winner. Just get over it. The fifth place car is going to be Shane Van Gisbergen. Earlier, I kind of talked about it. He's auditioning for a ride for 2024. Some teams are still iffy on him just because of the fact he's a road course driver and he's not really known to be an oval racer. But we're going to see how he does in trucks Friday night at IRP. If he does well there and does well Sunday, it may be a done deal Monday morning for a Cup ride next year. So time will tell there, but Shane Van Gisbergen finishing in fifth place. Dark horse is going to be Jenson Button. This is his third start. And a lot of people said COTA was going to be a practice session. So was Chicago. And right now, Indianapolis is going to be a real session. It's going to be a race. And Jenson Button is going to have a chance to score a solid top 10 result. COTA had a really competitive race. And Chicago made it into the second part of qualifying. I think he can make it to the second round of qualifying here in Indianapolis. Maybe on top of that all, maybe finish in the top 10. I don't believe that's out of the table or question. So there you go. Chase Briscoe picking up his first career win of the 2023 season. Following him in second place is going to be Austin Cindric. Third place is going to be Denny Hamlin. Fourth place is going to be Michael McDowell. Fifth place is going to be Shane Van Gisbergen, who's auditioning for a Cup ride. Dark horse Jenson Button. And the weather is looking good. Saturday we may be in for a wet Xfinity race and IndyCar race. Just to put it out there, IndyCar. Let's say Colton Herta wins that. I don't really follow it too much. I just know Alex Palou is tearing it up right now over Joseph Newgarden. And it's starting to get tight, but Nashville did hurt Newgarden because he finished behind Palou. So let's say Colton Herta wins, and for the Xfinity side of things, let's go with Cole Custer. I like Cole Custer right now. He's starting to heat up at the right time, and I believe if he keeps on making it the victory lane, like I say, for the third time this weekend, I believe it's not out the realm of him being considered for another Cup ride in the near future. Maybe not 2024, but maybe 2025. Let's say Ryan Preece has another bad year. They may flip-flop him. Preece may go to Xfinity. Custer may go back to Cup. It's all going to depend. It's going to get very interesting, but I'm very, very skeptical right now on how things are going to play out in the near future. But today's video, I believe it was very interesting. Biggest highlight of it all, Chase Elliott sucking it up in Michigan. Now he's in a must-win situation. Elliott fans, hope you're proud of your driver for what he did in Charlotte. Everybody, though, remember to please like and subscribe and comment down below your top 5 to be entered in this Sunday's Pick 5 contest. Everybody have a great and phenomenal day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.